Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining the session today. We look forward to hosting you. Although some find it archaic, email is still a primary form of corporate and business comms. And in saying that, the use of these platforms opens doors to data breaches. Hence, in the session today with our panel of experts, whom I will introduce shortly, we will be assisting you in ensuring that you are covered in terms of confidentiality, as we know that this form of communication is inherently insecure. On the next slide, let me tell you more about CRS. CRS is an authorized IBM training center, Red Hat training partner, and SUSE training partner for everything Linux and more. We also offer agile training and then cyber awareness training, including simulations and the like. Moving to cybersecurity, CRS is a channel-focused cybersecurity distributor with various enterprise and small to medium business-based enterprise solutions focusing on keeping you secure. On the panel today, we have Mr. Amit Parbucharan, GM for Beachhead Solutions in Europe, Middle East, Africa, and Asian countries, with a background in HP's information management and governance software portfolio. He empowers organizations with managed device security solutions, a vast knowledge around GRC, POPI, and all things legal. Emmanuel Vumbamera, the man with a huge surname and an equally large character. Mr. Vumbamera is a technical account specialist specializing in cybersecurity solutions and technical training, dedicated to providing customized solutions for clients with unique challenges. Tristan Govender, Mr. Cybersecurity, is a senior sales engineer. He focuses on cybersecurity industry and the Topia solution, now named VRX. He assists organizations to meet their security requirements. Myself, Dylan Null, I will be your MC for the day. According to the notes written down for me, I bring a wealth of experience in sales, logistics, and vendor engagement. With over a decade of experience in cybersecurity, building and maintaining strong relationships is my forte. Before we move on to the agenda, let me set the tone. Questions are always welcome, so if you have any, please raise your hand. The moderator will then unmute you and you will be free to speak. Alternatively, leave your questions in the Q&A and the team will answer as required. Other than that, I trust you will enjoy what we have in store for you today. So again, let me welcome you to today's session. We will be exploring the vital topic of ensuring confidentiality and integrity of email correspondence for customer trust and loyalty. In this agenda, we will address the growing challenges of invoice fraud and business email compromise and how email encryption plays a crucial role in mitigating these threats, as well as protecting financial transactions and preserving data integrity. We will also delve into elevating phishing defense through Check4Fish, which is an easy press button solution that combines human expertise with advanced technology to verify potential phishing attacks effectively. Additionally, we will navigate the cybersecurity landscape in the context of SMBs using the SMBsecure platform, which is a comprehensive solution designed to address the current unique cybersecurity challenges facing small to medium businesses and then safeguard them from evolving cyber threats. By the end of the session, you would have gained valuable insights into bolstering your email security, enhancing customer trust and loyalty, implementing robust cybersecurity measures in today's digital landscape. Again, feel free to participate actively in the discussions and the Q&A session to delve deeper into these critical cybersecurity topics. We will also be posting links or URLs to our socials, so go ahead and follow as necessary. Especially subscribe to our YouTube channel. There is some invaluable information here. With that being said, let me hand over to our first speaker, Tristan. Take it away.
Thanks for that, Dylan. Really appreciate it. So most definitely, one of the topics that we're going to discuss today is that email is a fundamental business communication tool. It's used extensively for exchanging things like information, documents, and data. However, it comes with inherent insecurity, making the need for securing email correspondence very paramount, right? Confidentiality is crucial as many business emails contain sensitive information such as financial data, intellectual property, trade secrets, which leads into ensuring that the integrity of the email communication, and it's vital to establish that trust between parties during business transactions. So customers generally trust and they trust in loyalty when it comes to um, or their trust and loyalty is significantly impacted when it comes to email security. Customers expect their interactions and personal information to be kept confidential and secure. And unfortunately, unsecured email correspondence exposes businesses to various risks. Email infiltration by cybercriminals can lead to unauthorized access to sensitive data and compromised organizational security. And business email compromise is just one of these major threats where attackers impersonate employees or trusted partners to deceive recipients and conduct fraudulent activities like invoice fraud or change in payment details. And another way of these is phishing attacks. I mean, phishing attacks we all know of, but it exploits unsuspecting users through deceptive emails, leading to data breaches, financial losses, and damage to organizations' reputations. To mitigate these risks, implementing effective strategies is highly essential. And moreover, securing email correspondence is essential for maintaining regulatory compliance, especially in industries with strict data protection laws. So by prioritizing email security, businesses can safeguard sensitive information, uphold their integrity, preserve customer trust, and to achieve this, SMBs must implement robust security measures, educate their employees, and proactively address email-based threats to ensure the safety of their communication. So let's delve into, let's say, what are these issues actually? What brings these issues? And one of the things that we discuss is business email compromise. And this is the type of cybercrime that involves attackers impersonating employees, executives, or trusted partners to deceive recipients and initiate fraudulent activities via email. So it's a sophisticated form of social engineering. It preys on your vulnerabilities, that it exploits things like your urgency, confidentiality to manipulate the targets into complying with their request. So BEC or business email compromise variants include invoice fraud, CEO fraud, account compromise, each posing significant financial risks to SMBs. This is stuff that can put SMBs out of business, right? And small and medium-sized businesses are particularly vulnerable to this due to a limited cybersecurity resource. This to prevent these business email compromise attacks, employee training is crucial. Raising awareness about identifying suspicious emails and verifying payment requests, implementing multi-factor authentication, implementing advanced email filtering systems, and adding those layers of protection. So these are just a couple of the steps or mitigation factors that we'll walk through. We also have to look at strict authorization procedures for financial transactions with multiple layers of approvals. This will help to mitigate these risks, as well as establishing a well-defined incident response plan and collaborating with law enforcement if necessary, also essential components of defending against business email compromise. So we also look to regularly review and update these cybersecurity measures to ensure continuous improvements in thwarting these financially devastating scams. And by addressing these points, SMBs can definitely safeguard themselves against the threats of business email compromise and protect their financial assets and reputation. So let's take a look at how business email compromise would actually work. We have Ben here. Ben is looking to send a secure or send confidential information to John. Ben would send his email. It then gets intercepted by the attacker. The attacker would then change the email to his benefit, for example, changing the bank account details and an invoice. Send it through to John. John would receive it as if it's a legitimate email from Ben. The attacker would then impersonate that attack again from John and send it through to Ben. And again, that cycle would continue. That's essentially why we need that continuous improvements of security. So when it comes to this business email compromise attack, there are two different layers that we look at, right? There's two different methods. One is upstream and one is downstream. When we're considering upstream email compromise, it involves cyber attacks originating from external parties, so targeting a recipient's email, a system, or infrastructure. Attackers use deceptive tactics such as impersonating legitimate entities like your suppliers or your partners or the technologies that you use, like Microsoft, to infiltrate the SMBs, right? They gain unauthorized access to sensitive information or financial data. The methods that they use may include things like phishing emails, social engineering, or even malware distribution. The consequences of upstream attack are quite severe. It means financial losses that may arise from fraudulent transactions, fake invoices, or even unauthorized funds transfers through compromised email accounts. You also have sensitive data breaches, which could expose confidential business information, client records, and intellectual property, which would lead to legal and reputational repercussions. And moreover, you also have the operational disruptions that can impact productivity and necessitate significant time and resource investments for recovery. So think of it as an investment into your future safeguards, right? It's essentially like insurance for what you might need in future, right? We also need to understand the downstream email compromise. And this is definitely one that you also want to consider, right? In contrast to upstream, downstream email compromise originates from within the organization and targets external recipients, right? Not necessarily inside a threat, but when we look at it, attackers use compromised internal email accounts to send malicious emails to clients, partners, or suppliers, intending to deceive the recipients and conduct fraudulent activities on behalf of the compromised organization. So an example would be phishing emails, and they gain access to your accounts and send out emails as if they are you, right? We also have the fact that downstream attacks poses substantial risk to organizations' reputation, eroding trust among clients, partners, and suppliers who may question the organization's ability to secure sensitive information. The legal consequences are also quite significant, as the organization may be held responsible for the damages caused to external parties through fraudulent activities conducted via the compromised accounts. Highly essential to consider. And moreover, the loss of business opportunities may occur as clients and partners may sever ties due to such security breaches. So let's take a look at the basic anatomy of a business email compromise type of attack, right? It involves various risk points, and one such vulnerability is the man in the mailbox attack, right? Here, attackers compromise email accounts password, gaining unauthorized access to the employees' mailboxes. And additionally, they'll set up auto forward rules to discreetly redirect incoming emails to their own accounts, enabling them to monitor communications and extract valuable information for fraudulent schemes. Another concerning risk point is DNS hijacking. Attackers tamper with the domain name system or DNS records of an organization's domain, redirecting email traffic to their servers. This manipulation allows them to intercept and manipulate communications, furthering their malicious intent. So when we look at it as well, we also have the infiltration over the wire. And this is another technique employed in business email compromise attacks, where cyber criminals eavesdrop on unencrypted email traffic during transmission. And by doing so, they gain access to sensitive information that may be contained within those emails. Finally, we have phishing, and we all know what phishing is, but it remains a significant risk, and we'll touch on some of those statistics a bit later. But often acting as the initial entry point for BEC attackers, employees are tricked into revealing their login credentials through deceptive emails, granting the attackers unauthorized access to their email account. And to combat these threats effectively, we offer four immediate protective measures, right? Firstly, implement two-factor authentication on all mailbox to bolster security. Even in the event of your password being compromised, that two-factor authentication may save you. Secondly, check all auto forwarding and redirect routes for your email server, cPanel, and your email clients like Outlook or Mail for Windows. Third, conduct regular audits of your email services and domain settings and proactively identify and address potential vulnerabilities. And finally, embrace email encryption to safeguard sensitive information during transmission, ensuring only intended recipients can decrypt and access the content. So I mentioned encryption. Why is this something that may help you? It plays such a pivotal role in safeguarding sensitive information. And there's several protocols that contribute to this endeavor. For one, DMARC or domain-based message authentication reporting and conformance prevents email spoofing and domain impersonation, ensuring legitimate emails reach recipients while reducing the risk of fraudulent activities. We then have DKIM, which is domain keys identified mail, which adds digital signatures to outgoing emails, verifying their authenticity and preventing tampering during transit. We then have SPF, which is Sender Policy Framework, which checks the legitimacy of incoming emails by validating their source against unauthorized servers, curbing email spoofing and unauthorized domain usage. And finally, SMBsecure is able to assist in checking and implementing these controls with your service provider. And you can always reach out to us to provide to find out more about this add-on service to SMBsecure. We're more than happy to help. So finally, in addition to the protocol of encryption, securing the communication itself or the communication channel itself is essential. This is where TLS and SSL come in. TLS, transport layer security, and SSL, which is secure socket layer, are cryptographic protocols that encrypt the stream of communication between email servers. So encrypting the stream protects the email content from interception and tampering, mitigating the risk of the man-in-the-middle attacks where malicious actors eavesdrop on unencrypted traffic. However, TLS is not always guaranteed because when emailing a recipient, both the sender and recipients have to have TLS and have it enabled. This is why you would want to consider encrypting the content to help you secure the data in transit. This is where content encryption adds an extra layer of protection for sensitive information, utilizing password-protected PDF attachments that ensures that only authorized recipients can access the content. This measure effectively prevents unauthorized individuals from gaining access to sensitive data, and the benefits of this are multifold. First and foremost, encryption ensures data confidentiality by restricting access to authorized parties only, preventing sensitive information from falling into the wrong hands. Additionally, it safeguards against the man-in-the-middle attacks, preserving the integrity of the email communication during transmission. Moreover, it aligns with compliance and regulatory requirements, particularly industries like healthcare and finance. If you're working with the banks, this is a bank-grade encryption method that you would be able to make use of. And meeting these standards is essential for protecting customer information and ensuring secure business practices. So let's take a look at a short demo from Emmanuel and Amit on how content encryption would work from SMBsecure Outlook plugin. Okay, so we know email encryption can play a vital role in helping an organization to secure data in transit over a medium like email, which, as I mentioned, is inherently an insecure channel. However, with the SMB Secure plugin for Outlook, we've made it super simple to be able to send sensitive and confidential data as encrypted in a format that is very familiar to many recipients. So adoption and acceptance by the recipients is very quick. We follow what many of the banks are doing, and that is sending correspondence as a password encrypted PDF. But we've taken it up a notch and offer organizations great flexibility with easy customizations of the app to match business objectives at a price point that is unmatched for the functionality. We believe SMB Secure with the plugin for Microsoft Outlook will deliver a good return on investment for any sized organization that our reseller partners will say the same. Emmanuel and Amit, if I was a small business or medical practice, can you show our audience how it will work for an Outlook user to send correspondence as a password encrypted PDF? For example, let's say I want to encrypt and send a customer letter or a patient report, which might contain personal or sensitive information like an ID number, medical aid number, and etc., and show us what the experience would look like for the recipients as well.
Understand. Yeah, thanks. This is Amit. I appreciate the opportunity. If Emmanuel can just share his screen there. So what we have done for this demo is we've actually set up an Outlook account in Emmanuel's Outlook there. And we've also set up a separate third-party Gmail account to mimic or simulate a third-party recipient. And essentially what we would do is basically show your audience how to, go about encrypting that data using our plugin for Outlook. What you would do, Emmanuel, is basically just compile or compose an email as normal.
Okay.
And the process to basically send data with encryption, generally we would target the typical attachment. So that's primarily where the correspondence would be, the content within that attachment. So that's the prime use. Generally, what would happen is that you would effectively have a user compile an email and then basically just send it out. So in Outlook, just hit the normal send button. Now, this would be the first time that Emmanuel is actually mailing this recipient. So from that perspective, um, he'll be presented with a UI. And in that UI, it's just to set up the record for that recipient. This would happen each time you mail somebody new and trying to encrypt the data. Essentially, you have the options to select what type of encryption to employ. We're just going to basically do the attachment right now in PDF, but there's other options which we'll discuss later. You have the opportunity to obscure that subject line. We'll talk about that shortly as well. And then basically, setting up the actual password and transmission methods. There are various options to send the actual password or a password hint. So in this case, Emmanuel, we're just going to, create a hint. So we don't actually transmit the password to the user. We tell them it's, your cell phone number or your ID number or your account number, whatever you want. And we have different mechanisms to choose for password transmission. We have email, if you want to send it via email. We have SMS, or we have manual, which would be not to transmit and find a way to transmit that through some other mechanism. And then we also provide the ability to, control the permissions on the PDF itself. So once that's in place, basically just go ahead and hit send. And once that's sent on the recipient side. All right, so this is now simulating the recipient side. So you sent it to a third party. Let's go ahead and open. So as you can see, there's some header information just telling that third party that the attachment's encrypted. It will tell them where to go and look. If you sent that password by email or by SMS, then it will tell them where to find it. And in Emmanuel's case, remember, we said that the password to open the encrypted in PDF was actually his cell number. So we just put the hint in there so the person knows, that could be your ID number or whatever. You can see here the content itself was not encrypted. We kept that, but the attachment itself is encrypted. So let's go ahead and open that actual PDF, Emmanuel. And he would use the password that got SMS'd to him. And just by the way, that SMS password is a service built into the platform or the service globally free of charge. And as far as I know, we are the only guys in the country that's basically incorporated this at no cost, global sending, and incorporated as a extra form of transmission. So there we go. He opened his PDF. It's containing information that he wanted the recipient to see, but basically similar to what your bank statements and those kind of things look like. So hopefully, Tristan, that gives your audience a little bit of an idea of, how that works. Straightforward and simple.
Most definitely, most definitely. I see that you've only encrypted the attachments in that example. What if I wanted to have everything encrypted, including the email body as well? How does that work, and how would it look like for the recipient to access the encrypted email as well as the attachments from their side?
Okay, great. So that's straightforward and simple as well. So we're just going to compose another test email here as well from Emmanuel's side. And we'll actually this time, instead of just the attachment, we will actually do the full body just to give you a sense. So he's just going to attach something and let's send it out like normal. And when it prompts for encryption, we'll say yes. Just remember, we set up Emmanuel's Outlook to prompt with this all the time. In the normal scenario, users will just be pre-set up and it's quite seamless and transparent. So Emmanuel, go ahead and select the first one, which is the email attachment and full body, and go ahead and say send. And because Emmanuel already had a record now for this user or recipient, you saw it didn't prompt him for any passwords and things. It was just using the existing one. So we're going to switch to his Gmail. And there we go. So this time we have encrypted the full body and attachment. So same story. There's some information in the actual email of what the password is, where to find it. And this time you can see there's no content in the actual email itself. So Emmanuel, if you can just download that PDF there, and then we'll open that PDF and show you what that looks like, Tristan. So he's going to use his password. So there's that encrypted PDF. And the concept that we use here is what we call a secure PDF envelope. This is where we basically would take attachments and embed them. So there's some header information to tell a user or recipient how to access attachments in Adobe Reader. So this time, here's the content, Tristan. It's all embedded inside that PDF, so the main email. But importantly, if there was attachments right on top, you can see if it's got attachments. We've highlighted it right on the top to say this PDF has the following attachment file, customer record.pdf. And in order for him to access that, just click on the paperclip icon in Adobe, and that will show you attachments. So we've actually taken the attachment, embedded it inside the secure PDF, plus the content of the email stream itself. So nothing is visible outside of that. So that makes it very, very easy and usable. And hopefully that shows you how that looks, Tristan.
Yeah, that's brilliant, Amit. Let's say we're an attorney firm and we work with the banks or certain financial institutions, and they require that we must always encrypt correspondence with them. Is there a way that we can force a user to always encrypt any correspondence being sent to a specific recipient or even an entire domain? So, for example, when a user emails anyone at APSA.
That's a good question. We have that requirement from a number of organizations. Let's click on the app. It's merely an app setting and an admin can set it up as they need. So let's go to the settings there, Emmanuel. And you see a setting that says must send encrypted. So we can define a mandatory list that can be an individual email address, or it could even be a full domain. So, star@apsa, as an example, will mean that anytime any user from your company emails anyone at EPSA or corresponds, then it must be sent encrypted. So let's actually show you that live now. So let's go OK there, Emmanuel, on the settings. And let's compose another example email. And just to show the audience. So we're going to send it to that Gmail account who he made mandatory. And same story, subject line, some content, and maybe an attachment. I saw there was a question that was coming through about the attachments. Anything that is convertible to PDF will be converted to PDF as a flat PDF and sent as an encrypted PDF. So Word document, spreadsheet, your typical Office type data. If you want to maintain that in its original form, so an original spreadsheet format, an original Word document format for editing purposes, then you can embed that in the PDF itself. We also have the opportunity to keep files in the original format. But stuff that is not convertible, like maybe a graphics file, can't just be converted to PDF. So that will embed it in the actual PDF. All right, so let's go ahead and click send. And yes, no, because you don't want encryption. But notice it's going to force. So it will tell the user that they cannot email this recipient or domain without sending it encrypted. So that essentially is how that works. Hopefully that answers Tristan.
Most definitely, most definitely. Okay, perfect. So does it work? What about sending an email invite to someone? Can it work for meeting invites too? So if I wanted to include a document which might contain confidential information like a pre-built, pre-published audit report or financial spreadsheet, and I want to have that encrypted too, how will it work? And can the recipient still RSVP to a meeting invite?
Okay, that's another good question. Often email invites are forgotten about when it comes to securing content. Often we send out invites and we attach things that contain very sensitive confidential information. Take a board meeting and the pre-release or pre-published audit report and financial spreadsheets for budgeting, salary reviews for the next year, etc. is all kind of in there, and we send these things on email to external parties, etc. So here we're going to get Emmanuel just to set up a normal invitation and attach some sensitive content and show you how that works. So yes, absolutely, we actually fully catered for email invites as well. So anything he wants there. And let's go ahead and send that out. And this time we're gonna send it with encryption. So when it prompts, you say yes. And we're just gonna do the attachment for now. Even if you were to do the body, okay, so it's just warning him is attached a financial spreadsheet there. Remember, when you convert something to PDF, if you're doing something like a spreadsheet, it should be properly formatted. Otherwise, you can get what we call a untidy PDF document. So it's just a nice user-friendly message to tell the user, make sure that your print setting is set to all columns on one page, etc., so that it looks neat on the other side. Let's switch over to the Gmail account then, Emmanuel, and let's have a look at that email invite that came through to the third-party recipient. Okay, so you can see it looks like a normal invitation. We've had some advanced coding here to keep all of the RSVP capabilities so that essentially you can RSVP in terms of yes, no, maybe, etc. But if you scroll down, okay, we chose not to encrypt the content in this one, but we chose to encrypt the attachment. So there's the attachment file. And guess what? It is fully encrypted. So, well, it's the same as before, so I don't think we need to show this one. That's fine. But to answer there, Tristan, fully works for email invites as well, sent to any third-party recipient.
Definitely, definitely. I think that's brilliant. That's a brilliant piece of work there. So does it work the same if I want to send correspondence with encryption to multiple recipients? And can the app still send the password by SMS to each recipient when I'm sending the encrypted email to multiple recipients?
Very good question. And we had to take care of a lot of complexity here and also a lot of usability issues, right? So we're going to get Emmanuel to compose an email to multiple people, similar to what he's done before. Now, when you corresponding with a single individual, it's easy, right? Your bank sends you your bank statement. It's the bank to you, and you open it up. Same like this. It could be a doctor's office sending a medical report to an individual patient. But if you, for instance, take something like, maybe a law firm where, paralegal and multiple people are copied on this thing, etc., or included, we need to make sure that all recipients on this email thread are able to interact, where they can reply all, but of course still safeguard the content. So in order to accomplish this, whenever you send to multiple recipients, we do it with what we call a common password. So it's not your personal password. And essentially from that perspective, everybody's using the same password to access this email. So let's go ahead and say send there, Emmanuel, and let's send with encryption. Right. Now, this time you are presented with the screen again because it is a multi-recipient email. So you would set a password that everybody would use in this mail thread. So, whatever it is. And let's send the actual password this time to his phone. That's fine. And let's go and say send. So very few things to actually set up. Now, Emmanuel had a record sent to or set up for his Gmail account. So that was all great. And here's a new function or capability for multiple recipients. So we are detecting that the one email address that is added yet doesn't have a mobile number. And we're saying that we want to transmit this by SMS. So let's go ahead and just add this record in there, Emmanuel. Just randomly generate a password. It's fine. And send by SMS. Let's add in the country code and South Africa. And we've catered for all the different forms of the way people will type a mobile number normally or without the zero, etc. And just save that. Once it's added, so you'll get prompted for the ones that don't have it, you'll just hit send. And so all the mail recipients on this mail thread will receive an SMS with the password to access this multi-recipient email. And if we look at it on the Gmail side,
Sorry, Amit.
We lost you for a second there. Just come again.
Okay. I was just saying that all the recipients will get the password for this. Okay. And basically send it out from there. So.
Okay. So our second user there is the wrong email address, but then still it won't affect the first user. They'll still get their email as they were supposed to. So it does work for multiple recipients there.
Yeah, no issues
Most
there.
definitely. Perfect. So let's take a moment to talk about passwords, right? So obviously the recipients would require a personal or company password to open the encrypted PDF. What if I wanted to change the password or password transmission preferences for a recipient and where the passwords are stored? How do I, as a user, manage records for my recipients?
Good question there again, Tristan. So we have a central repository that's accessible within Outlook. So if you just open the app there, Emmanuel. Am I audible, Tristan?
If you are audible.
Okay, great. So if we just open the app there and basically the first menu item, PDF encryption passwords. Right, so this is a little repository called My List that exists on Emmanuel's PC. It's a little database file. It's fully salted and encrypted, so it's inaccessible without the salting. And basically, you can see all the records and the passwords. At any point in time, Emmanuel can just grab that password and even choose to resend it to that recipient by hitting the send password button again. You can copy it to his clipboard. But if he goes to edit any record, by the way, you can also search on the top if you're looking for something. So if you're looking for anybody with Gmail, so let's just type in Gmail there on the top. Okay, finds it immediately. Let's go and edit that record. At the bottom, let's edit it. And there you can go. You've got the UI that will come up and you can change the password preferences, etc. Again, Tristan. So central repository, very easy, very quick, and very simple. One that we are not showing here as well, Tristan, just to mention, we also have a shared password list. A shared password list is different to my list. This is where we can apply business control password usage and preferences set by an administrator as opposed to by the user. It's ideal for places where you have multiple users, for instance, communicating with the same recipient. So take a doctor's office where you have reception 1 and reception 3 on reception 5 all mailing the same patient. Now, from an experience perspective, you don't want that patient to open or receive emails and then having to open each one with different passwords from different senders. So we can commonize that password, and let's assume it's the person's medical aid number or ID number or whatever. We can all, set it up centrally. And so it doesn't matter which user would actually send out that email to the recipient. They basically all will get encrypted with that common password for that recipient, and it's all easily handled. We also have full domain capability. So we can actually specify not just an individual, like for instance, everybody at CRS. And we can, whenever you're communicating with CRS, it will use a CRS-based password. So very functional, very flexible, very sophisticated, depending on how we're wanting to apply these rules within the business use. So hopefully that gives you that sense.
Perfect. Thanks for that, Amit. So I've seen from your previous example that the app can also obscure the subject line, which can help to enhance the privacy of emails so no one on the internet knows what it relates to if infiltrated. Can you show us an example of how this would work and and what it would look like for the recipient?
Okay, great. So this time, let's again send something to the Gmail user. Let's assume this was now a payment invoice, or if you were busy with a property transfer or something, this could have been the deposit for the for the trust account or something. This is where a lot of the business email compromise fraud is happening. We see a lot of usage of our app in that space right now. So let's go and attach, some form of remittance information or something, and let's go again and send, but this time let's go ahead and obscure the subject line. Now you see this from some of the big medical aid companies that will send you some correspondence. You don't see what the email relates to. So let's obscure the subject line. Emmanuel, just check that box and click send. Okay, and what we can do is we can look at the recipient side as well to see what it would look like. So you receive an email now. Let's assume this was relating to the payment. See, you don't even see what that subject line is. If you called it, invoice for deposit payment or something, you won't know what it's about. The complete email is privatized. And of course, the intention is to keep all your correspondence in the attachment itself and not really put anything in your email body. So in that way, that invoice, if he opens it up, or if it was a remittance info or bank information, completely secure. And if we're sending that password out of band, like something like SMS, an attacker wouldn't really know A, what the password is to open this if we were using something private, and B, even if it was infiltrated on the cloud, they would not get access to this because we use high encryption standards for that.
Perfect. Amit, you spoke about that encryption standard. What is the level of security used for any encrypted PDFs, and how can we verify it?
That's another good question. And sometimes you might need to prove those from an audit or legal perspective. So let's get Emmanuel to open up one of the encrypted PDFs there that he might have used. And yeah, you can just open one of the PDFs that you downloaded there, Emmanuel, and let's look at the properties of it. So of course, there's the encryption level itself, but we also have got permission control. So we've got various permission controls there. If you can just download that. Is this a local copy, Emmanuel? Just open up one that you perhaps downloaded to your
All right.
computer.
Just a second there.
Okay. So in Adobe itself, we can actually check the security and permissions. So just open that up. Right, we can click on the padlock there to see the security. And if you look at details on the top there, show details, that will show you the security of the actual PDF itself. If you look right down, we are applying the highest level, 256-bit AES encryption right at the bottom. And that's actually higher. I'll challenge anybody on this call, go and look at your bank statement. That is higher than what the banks are doing, which is typically 128. But so this was all done quite reasonably fast, end-to-end encryption before it even left your PC. And we've got a full PDF permission control there. You can see all the controls in terms of printing, etc. In this case, we've allowed maybe form filling. You can see Emmanuel allowed that permission, but it's denied all the other permissions. So you can actually see on the PDF on the top right, Emmanuel, just hover your mouse there. You will actually see that the printing button is actually grayed out and disabled. So Emmanuel cannot print this PDF actually. So we've got, provide a lot of different security and capabilities for the PDF itself, plus the encryption layer that we apply.
Yeah, that's brilliant. That's brilliant. So I can see the plugin also provides a good end-to-end encryption, right? So I assume, so as the data is encrypted before it even leaves the PC, and that the PDF also remains password encrypted. I can also see that there's no cloud involved here, so our emails are not residing with other third-party clouds or other data sovereignty issues to worry about. Would you mind just elaborating a bit further on that? And is this correct?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's a on-device encryption method. So everything happens on the PC before it even leaves the user's PC, and it's preserved what we call end-to-end encrypted all the way during transmission and on the third-party device. The good news, Tristan, is that even if somebody were to download that document, say a recipient opened it on their mobile phone, they downloaded this correspondence which you send out. Remember, in South Africa, under POPI law, you are considered the responsible party. So as the sender, the onus is on you to safeguard and to protect. And we have case law now in South Africa. There was a big case where somebody got defrauded, and the law firm actually had to pay out the plaintiff for all of that stuff. So in that case, it's proper end-to-end encryption, and this is not transversing any cloud at all. So it's all on device. And the beauty there is, unlike gateways, Justin, where you have to have a user now log into a portal to gain access to encrypted email, None of that stuff. It's just flat PDF. Simple. You don't need to have any keys or special software. Most people got a standard, PDF reader that they can open it with, and they just need the password to decrypt and open it. And it's pretty cool. The other issue with gateways is that it will send out a link for you to click on to access it on a portal, etc. What are we telling people with regards to phishing, which is right up to Emmanuel's slide here? Don't click on links is one of the things we're trying to encourage people, right? Or untrusted links. And so, by using third-party portals, etc., it just complicates things and it goes against the grain. So we felt using the PDF standard was probably the better approach, and it's the more simpler approach for the community. So hopefully that answers.
Perfect. That's brilliant. Just handing over to Manuel here for phishing. But I think that's a brilliant tool for the plugin for Outlook that will definitely safeguard a lot. So we do have very much open references that are utilizing these types of solutions, and especially with regards to that email encryption plugin that you made use of. One of them is definitely Schindler Attorneys, where we've got an open reference site for. So yeah, some different good use cases.
All right, thank you, Justin, and thank you, Amit, for that wonderful interactive demonstration there. So now we have looked into the world of email encryption and its importance in safeguarding our communication. But as I said, SMBsecure, our journey to enhance digital security doesn't end there. So it's now time to explore another critical aspect of online safety, right? So we're all familiar with what phishing is, and we've all been victims to phishing at one point. A typical example is the inheritance money phishing scheme, which we all have been accustomed to in the digital space which we live in, right? So in the scheme, you get somebody claiming to be a lawyer, and then they reach out and they ask you to send personal information so that they're able to transfer money from your deceased relative to your own account. And then from there, you end up sharing your sensitive information. So now this is very this is very problematic to the organization. As you can see, 44% of people think an email is safe when it contains familiar branding, right? But then we've seen that threat actors have also become a little bit more evolved, where they can send an email from FNB and it will look like something similar to what FNB would send you, and then you would fall victim to that. And also looking further, that we can see that there is direct financial loss from successful phishing attacks, which has increased by 76% since in 2022. So that goes to show how phishing can be of detrimental. It can cause detrimental effect to your organization, right? So let's look at a typical example for you at your organization. Imagine it's a typical busy Monday, and you are as the diligent accountant for your organization are ready to wrap up your day. Just as exhaustion sets in, an email pops in your inbox, seemingly from your boss. The message claims that an urgent fund transfer to another account is required immediately, and your boss mentions that he won't be unreachable and he'll be boarding a plane soon. And by this context already, you can see that this person might have information about your organization, and you as the accountant can fall victim to this and actually go ahead and do the transaction, and you would leave your organization at a financial loss. So we have looked at phishing, but I'm aware you are wondering, do you have a solution to this? So the shorter answer is yes, and here is the short answer. So we bring to you phishing awareness and cyber risk education. So it is a typical 4-step process which involves us giving you your organization phishing simulations. So the good thing about your organization getting phishing simulations is that they get to see what a typical phishing email would look like, and then if they fall victim to the phishing simulations, it won't have any effect on your organization, because once upon clicking on those phishing links, they'll be redirected to training, and they will receive training which is relevant to the phishing which they would have received, right? And then, so with that being said, so your organizations, your staff, your employees are equipped with all the information they need from our phishing and cyber security, cyber awareness education, and now they're equipped with all the information they need. But then what happens when there is those emails which manage to confuse your staff members, right? So we equipped your staff members, they now know what to look out for. But then, as we mentioned, these threat actors are evolving. So how do we go about this? We do offer you a check for phish button, which is built into the email encryption application, which we just looked at, which will offer you and easy access to send that email, which you're not sure of, to analysts, and then you'll have human analysts look into that information and then give you a report to show you what or guide you on how to proceed moving on from there. So that's basically what we do have to offer as SMBsecure. And in regards with phishing and with specifically regards to phishing, we do have you catered. We'll educate your staff members and also make sure that if they're in doubt, they can still reach out to us, and then analysis will be done on the respective email, and then correspondence will be sent accordingly. Over to you, Tristan.
Perfect. Thanks for that, Emmanuel. And just as a note, I mean, this can even be set up internally at your organization. Something that we can definitely assist with is also training up your IT personnel to be able to identify these phishing emails and take on a solution like Check for Phish internally. Okay. So the collective implementation of data security, email security, and employee security is something that SMBsecure centers around, right? It helps SMBs meet compliance requirements and safeguard sensitive information. Data security is not meant to be just a tick box. It's meant to be something that would secure your organization from your own the security or security of sensitive information or data information within the organization. This is also something that we look at for things like device theft, right? Which also poses a significant risk, right? So when we look at the device layer, we look at device theft, which poses a significant risk to exposing confidential data. So implementing robust data security measures like ensuring that data encryption is in place and secure access control is in place, even protecting data, even in the event of theft, is something that SMBsecure would enable. This means that a customer can trust that the organization is taking their data security seriously, and this is paramount for business success, which is, again, going to come down to customer trust. A breach in email security as well is also something that you have to consider as a breach of customer trust, right? It comes down to compromised email security, which can result in unauthorized access to data, customer data, which again will erode trust and damage the organization's reputation. And furthermore, cybersecurity incidents can also lead to severe financial loss, sometimes even putting your small to medium business out of business as a whole, as email security breaches may result in fraudulent transactions, while employee security vulnerabilities can expose the organization to costly cyber attacks. These incidents can also disrupt regular business operations, leading to productivity loss and potential downtime. And by integrating device, email, and employee security, SMBs minimize the risk of disruptions caused by cyber threats. So we position this at the intersection of device security, email security, and employee security. And SMBsecure offers a comprehensive solution, a bundled solution that unites these three critical elements, providing small businesses with a powerful and integrated defense against cyber risk. So by recognizing the significance in safeguarding compliance, customer trust, financial stability, and business continuity, small businesses can fortify their defenses against the evolving cyber threats effectively. The power of integration creates a synergistic effect that enhances the overall cybersecurity posture and offers a strong line of defense against evolving cyber threats. So just to bring the session together, device security, email security, and employee security are interconnected pillars of a robust cybersecurity strategy. Embracing SMBsecure's comprehensive approach will ensure that SMBs possess the necessary tools and measures to defend against cyber threats proactively.